Yeah.
Hello, Alfred.
Hi there. Welcome back. And we just saw each other over last weekend at the Free Your Mind conference. Um, we have the privilege today joining us on Exopolitics TV is Mr. Jay Parker, who was born into a multi-generational satanic Illuminati family and received monarch trauma-based mind control as a child. For the first 7 years of his life, Jay was subject to satanic ritual abuse in a large cult setting. And Jay now speaks on recovery and healing methods for satanic ritual abuse survivors. He discusses in detail neurological and biological discoveries related to ritual abuse and reveals a specialized holistic approach for satanic ritual abuse healing. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, I thought that we could cover three topics in this hour-long interview. The first topic, and this is really sort of a first interview in this area for our channel, Exopolitics TV. And starting with the subject of satanic Illuminati penetration, no pun intended, of U.S. and world society. Now, what I found amazing, and if you just give me a moment, is that I began doing research, and I'm just going to where people would normally go to do research. They would say, allegations of cult-based abuse is the most extreme scenario of satanic ritual abuse. During the initial period of interest, satanic was used to describe a network of Satan-worshipping, secretive intergenerational cults that were supposedly part of a highly organized conspiracy engaged in criminal behavior such as forced prostitution, drug distribution, and pornography. These cults were also thought to sexually abuse and torture children in order to force them into a lifetime of devil worship. Now, I want to get to this one sentence. And if you, as a survivor, could sort of come back to this theme. This is from Wikipedia. No evidence of any of these claims has ever been found. And it has 4 different footnotes to that. So it's clear that even in Wikipedia, there is an institutional cover-up of our very topic that we're addressing today, which is the satanic Illuminati networks. And you come here as being born into a multi-generational satanic Illuminati family as a witness to that. And we're all very appreciative because at least I myself have no personal knowledge of that. So if you could talk to us maybe for the next 10 or 15 minutes or more about the satanic Illuminati multi-generational families and what that's all about. How did it come about? How extensive is it? And what are their aims, their methods, all of that?
Well, my father and his family joined the Illuminati in the 1720s, long before Adam Weishaupt declared the Illuminati in Bavaria in 1776. The Illuminati and other dark occult networks goes back probably to the cataclysm on Earth at 9,600 BC. After that cataclysm, the human race in the Earth was in a state of shock and dismay. At that particular time, from my research, I would say the dark occultists in restarting civilization in India and in Babylon decided why not take over the whole ball of wax? Keep people in the dark, and we'll be basically the evil priestcraft that controls their minds. The history of the Illuminati that I know of from my parents goes back to 3000 BC with my mother, Josette Parker, a school teacher, and she went to Dickinson College and met my father there. I believe Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, is a huge CIA Illuminati college. Most of the friends my mother introduced the family to from her time in college were all cult members. But basically, let's start with an overview of the history of the Illuminati and try to figure out where these elite families came from and how they achieved godlike status in the world today. One of the best authors to read if you're researching reality rather than watching television is an author by the name of Joseph P. Farrell. He has many books on the secret Nazi programs for science and space technology. But he also has written 2 books on banking. He calls these books Babylon's Banksters. And Babylon Banksters tells an interesting story of prehistory, Alfred, you'll find interesting. Back in the time of, say, 3000 BC, the West, the Mediterranean and Babylon and Egypt, considered gold the #1 high-value mineral. In the East, China, Malaysia, it was considered to be silver. On both Asia and the Mediterranean region, it was a 50-to-1 ratio of gold to silver or silver to gold. What these dark occultists set up in their trading partners in the Asia was that they would go to Asia from the Mediterranean with a nice amount of silver and buy gold at 50-to-1. And they would come back with a load of gold from Asia, purchased for a low price. And then they would turn that in, buy a little bit of silver, and they would go back and forth. And basically, each trip, you were accumulating more and more gold. So eventually, after 1,000, 2,000 years of this gold and silver trade, certain families, certain oligarch families that were dark occultists, basically ended up with all the gold. And I'd say around the time of Christ, throughout the world, gold was considered the #1 commodity. So that's how they became richer than God. And once you have the money, you're able to corrupt politicians, royalty, and basically slowly control society. The dark occultists have basically been controlling religion in the West since 3000 BC with the start of Zoroastrianism. The duality Zoroaster religion basically is an archonic religion that states that the supreme being, the supreme God, creates both good and evil. Well, if you have a God that creates both good and evil, where is there for you to hide? There's really no safe place for your consciousness, because you never know what the trickster God is going to do. This fits in well with the dark occult mentality of keeping people in fear. So as you study Judaism, as you study some of the twisted cults out of Judaism, like the Zadokine, who are extremely radical, you see that the patriarchy, just from Zoroastrianism, 3000 BC, just keeps marching further and further away from a society where men and women are equal to a patriarchal society that's basically very domineering. The controllers who control the financial institutions and the political institutions become more and more violent. And then, of course, eventually with the destruction of the Gnostics and the Illuminati making Christianity the state religion, then you have all of the egalitarian societies that were focused around nature worship and equality between the sexes being butchered in Europe first for, I guess, we're talking 700-800 years of total just genocide. There's a story of Charlemagne going into a village during a May Day festival in Germany and just slaughtering 5,000 people. And to get a grasp of the Illuminati religion that is Christianity, I would highly recommend the book Not in His Image by John Lamb Lash. Most people don't understand what the true ancient classical world mystery cults were about. The cult of Dionysus, the cult of Attis, the cult of Mithra. These were all mystery schools that basically served as metaphors for human consciousness. The stories of these gods were never considered to be real or alive or historical. They were metaphors for aspects of consciousness. But in the classic mystery schools of the Gnostics, people went there to be taught. They went there to learn crafts and trades. They went there to become initiates of the basic religion of a balanced brain. If you know the truth about humanity, that we have two hemispheres, a left and a right hemisphere, and to become a fully aware spiritual human being, you need to balance your masculine and feminine aspects, the left and right side of your brain, and form a coherent walk in your life where you're neither an abuser nor a victim. The Illuminati know this, and so all their religions basically focus on making someone right brain imbalanced, which would be a new age religion person. So they become a doormat for any corruption that's in the world, or a left brain adherent or imbalanced person, which would be Christianity or Islam, where you have to march around the world killing all the infidels and all the savages. My parents traced their Illuminati history back, my mother, back to the Amalekite people of the Middle East, 3000 BC. And mother to daughter witchcraft, dark occult witchcraft, from that time. I was a grave disappointment to my family. I really didn't like what they were doing, and once my brain started ramping up at the age of 5 years old, 6 years old, I started resisting the satanic programming to become a cult member. The Illuminati and the New World Order which is the system they're trying to bring into the United States and the world, has been a plan that has been probably developed around the time of the First Roman Empire. People do not understand that to live in a generational Illuminati family is basically like being born into a family where you're generational bakers. Your father was a baker, you're going to be a baker, and your son's going to be a baker. And it's all about the baking business. Well, the Illuminati, it's all about the control business, and it's all about making the other 90% of humanity slaves and the 10% of humanity rulers. My mother told me in 1963 that although she said it was 12% of America was generational, were generational Satanists, I like to use the figure 10%. So basically we have 34 million generational Satanist pedophiles working for the elites. And if you want to know who the elite are, you need to read the book Bloodlines of the Illuminati by the author Fritz Springmeier. It's available at the InfoWars bookstore at Infowars.com. That's a good place to start in researching the oligarchs who control your society. Right now, Alfred, basically what the Illuminati has been doing since World War II is taking away any semblance of education from the American people and the world in general, and putting what I would say are soft kill chemicals into our environment. These soft kill chemicals for the mass of humanity are, number one, fluoride. Sodium fluoride is a byproduct of aluminum smelting and also of nuclear technology. Sodium fluoride costs $50,000 to have a 55-gallon drum of it disposed of properly under EPA standards. So the aluminum and nuclear industry decided, why should we pay a fortune to get rid of this toxic waste when we can just bribe a bunch of dentists and pay them off, and they'll tell the people that, hey, it's great for your teeth. But if you go to Fluoride Action Network and read up and study about fluoride, there's an excellent book called The Fluoride Deception, and you'll get the history of fluoride. It is a neurotoxin. It is considered by most scientists who are honest to be one of the top cancer-causing agents in our society that we're being exposed to on a daily basis. It makes people docile. It was used in the prison camps and the concentration camps of both the Soviet Union and the Nazis. It makes people docile, easily controlled, weak-minded, and basically, you want to be a zombie? Make sure you get your fluoride, because that's number one. The Illuminati, in addition to fluoride, after World War II, they went on a program of taking nitrogen, phosphorus, and putting them into fertilizing packages and selling them to agriculture. Nitrogen and phosphorus will make your plants grow faster and seemingly stronger. This, of course, is a biological lie, but once you start, let's say, using drugs on your plants, you get addicted to the system of jacking up your plants with these artificial fertilizers. So the plant grows quickly and seemingly strong, there's only one problem. There's no nutrition in it. And the plants themselves, as compared to an organic biomass where organic plants are grown, not only are they low in actual nutrition, they also are more susceptible to fungicides, fungus, and pests. So you have to use herbicides, fungicides, and pesticides to keep the artificially produced phosphate and nitrogen plants growing and making you money for harvest. So you produce this crop that is very weak and needs chemicals to protect it from nature's pests. So then those chemicals are absorbed by the plant. So what do people eat when they eat conventional food given to them by their loving Illuminati oligarchs? They're eating pesticide, fungicide, herbicide, and there's no nutrition in it compared to an organically grown natural biomass plant. So you're getting slow killed that way too, because the more you eat, the less satisfaction your body has biochemically. And so that's why one of the reasons you see so many obese people. They're literally eating artificially raised plastic fruits and vegetables. Another thing the Illuminati control system has done since World War II is really taking a lockdown on the economies of the West, Japan, and America. If you look around at how the banks have manipulated the Western world in the time since World War II, you will find that it's a system of boom and bust that the central banks throughout the West have been engaging in.
So you were speaking about the banks before we had the interruption.
Yes, since World War II, the entire Western economies have been controlled by the Rothschild-Rockefeller banking cartel.
So, how do the satanic Illuminati networks work through the banks?
Well, Webster Tarpley, historian, has followed the Illuminati oligarchs out of the Roman Empire to Venice in the Middle Ages. And they were known as the Black Venetians. And they were the merchants who became the bankers of the world. Then they moved from Venice into Germany, northern France, and Holland. And the time of Henry VIII was when the Black Venetian Illuminati nobility struck a deal with Henry Tudor. And Henry Tudor was the one who sold England out to the Illuminati. And since that time, the Illuminati have been using England as along with America, as a cannon fodder empire builder. But, what people do not understand is these ancient crime families communicate worldwide with one another, and they're not against working together to rob the masses of humanity. There's so many things I've studied when it comes to the banks, but the main thing I want to talk about to get people to understand is this business cycle mentality that people are told of boom and bust is nothing but central bank manipulation, so that as you expand your business in a boom and take out loans, then when they collapse the money supply, which is what they did in 2008 here in America and worldwide, then the banks are able to go in and buy everything for pennies on the dollar. And when it comes to the Illuminati power base, it's not just the ancient royal houses of Queen Elizabeth and Queen Beatrix and some of the other royal households in Europe and in Asia. The banking families like Rothschild and Rockefeller and Morgan are very big. It's said that the Queen of England is worth $17 trillion, and that the Rothschilds are worth over $300 trillion. If you have that kind of money, you can basically make any government dance to your tune. And unfortunately, these people are dark occultists. They have an agenda to take the entire planet for themselves, and they're well on the way to achieving that goal. But as I said, Alfred, Babylon Banksters by Joseph P. Farrell, both books would be an excellent place to start reading about the bankers who control your society. That's the core of the Illuminati as far as control, is of course the money. It's the golden rule. He who has the gold rules. And another thing people need to look out for, of course, is what they do with that money. Propping up dictators and actually creating problems. And there's an author by the name of Anthony Sutton. He's a Yale scholar. He's written 2 books, Wall Street and the Bolsheviks, how the banks in England and America created the Soviet Union, and also Hitler and Wall Street, how the Wall Street and British bankers bankrolled Hitler. Up until 1 month before the end of World War II, the Bank of International Settlements in Zurich, Switzerland, was receiving interest payments from the Nazis to the bankers in America and in England. So they were getting paid on their investment in Hitler up until 1 month before the end of the war. So it's all a scam, really. It's all a big stage show to keep you amused and think that there's actually different political factions out there. Nothing moves on this planet without the Illuminati's approval.
Now,
and
now,
it's the way it is.
Now, you mentioned starting that you yourself are from an Illuminati, a satanic, multi-generational satanic Illuminati family going back to the 3000 BC era. Could you describe specifically the experiences you went through in your family and in similar families that you came into contact with?
When you're born into a multi-generational satanic family, you're told that the Illuminati controls the world. And basically, you're on the winning team. Hooray. A child born into a multi-generational Illuminati family is tortured, raped, drugged, and mind-controlled for the first 6 years of your life. The reason being, the subconscious of a human being is built in the first 6 years of life. That is when, as a young child, you are in what psychologists and physiologists call a hypnagogic trance. Your mind is downloading all sensory information directly into your subconscious. Your subconscious runs 98% of your decisions and your attitudes and thoughts in your life. It's 1,000 times more powerful than the conscious thought as far as processing power, just in every way. Your subconscious runs your life. So the Illuminati get to their children at an early age and put them through a program of horrific sexual and physical torture. This is so that the synaptic pathways of the brain are warped and the chemicals of the Illuminati secondary psychopath are different than someone who was raised in a loving, nurturing family. You have actually been hijacked into what appears to be a human being on the outside, but in physical reality, chemically, and in neural net reality, you're probably closer to a reptilian or an archon.
Right. So what? How did this unfold for you? Do you have memories of the first 6 years of your life?
Oh, absolutely.
Could
Yes.
you share some of those with us that you're
Yes,
willing to
I
share?
grew up, the first 3 years of my life were spent in Fulcroft, Pennsylvania, and small row house, bunch of other working class families. A lot of people don't understand this, but the Illuminati is not just the elite families like the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. The Illuminati stem back to, I say that it goes back to the cataclysm of 9,600 BC. But it's way back in ancient history that these dark occult, pedophile cults came out of. When you abuse a child with pedophilia and torture, there's a natural bonding system that you have with your parents. By having this other situation with your parents going on where they're your attacker and abuser causes a multiple identity personality, because you have the instinctive reality of wanting to love your caregiver, your parents, and then you have this other Illuminati reality of your Illuminati monarch mind control handler, which is, for the most part, your parents. And so it really causes a schizogenic situation in your mind. There's a book by Fritz Springmeier, an Illuminati researcher, called Illuminati Mind Control Slave. Just look for Fritz Springmeier's books, but How to Create an Undetectable Mind Control Slave. How to Create an Undetectable Mind Control Slave. And so you can go through reading about the rituals that are performed. In Arden, Delaware, 90% of the children are from pedophile, human sacrificing, dark occult families. So at least once in their life, they will undergo a ritual where an innocent abducted child or young adult is axe murdered while the 4 or 5-year-old victim of this trauma-based mind control is in a trance. And then when the arms and legs are cut off and the victim is choking to death on their blood as the torso is gashed horrifically, the this is what happened with me, and it's in Fritz Springmeier's book, How to Create a Undetectable Mind Control Slave. They bring you out of the trance, the hypnotic trance they put you under, and there is, in my case, a young girl, about 14, who was abducted from Long Beach, California, also a major Illuminati center. a huge amount of satanic ritual abuse and cult activity in Long Beach, as well as Pasadena, and big centers of pedophilia there. And if you go into the McMartin preschool case and look at what Ted Gunderson has written about it on the web, you'll find that the government there does everything in their power to protect pedophile satanic cults. But that's just one ritual you'll go through. You will be broken out of a trance, woken out of a trance, to witness the last dying gasps of someone, and you will be told that you were the person that chopped their arms and legs off and stabbed them 100 times.
Okay, so you were talking about an example of the trauma-based satanic sacrifice, trauma-based mind control that you went through. How prevalent is this? I mean, is this part of why so many children disappear?
Yes, 800,000 children a year disappear in America. It's not a national scandal because the churches and the government really don't care about you. 800,000 children disappear a year. There are 30 million satanic pedophiles out there. So you need quite a few children to do some of these deeper mind control techniques of human sacrifice. I'm not saying 800,000 children are being axe murdered in these rituals each year, but I know quite a few are. Now in Arden, where each generation there'll be 150 to 200 children that are being groomed for Illuminati rank and file service, each one of them definitely in the Monarch program has at least one human sacrifice ritual performed for it to really warp the mind. But there's other rituals like being buried alive and then having a godlike figure above the pit you're lowered into declaring that you're not in the book of life. And a lot of electroshock with cattle prods and car batteries, a lot of forced sexual activity, pleasing both men and women orally and anally. When I grew up and I was there from 59 to 71, I believe. The kids that were in the cult would occasionally talk about the abuse, but for the most part, it was something that you just tried not to think about. But the woods of Arden, Delaware, in my estimation, have well over 1,000 human sacrifices. Plus, the fact that it's a DuPont Illuminati burial ground, God knows how many business people that DuPont's had to get rid of that got in their way. So, I'm sure there's over 1,000 buried, both in the Rose Valley, Pennsylvania, Marquis of Hell colony and Arden, Delaware. No doubt in my mind.
Now, you've mentioned the Monarch program. What is that program?
monarch mind control is an offshoot of trauma-based mind control that the Illuminati have been doing mind control to their children for thousands of years. But also you have the modern techniques that the Nazis have been developing in the concentration camps also. Joseph Mengele, my mother admired him very much. He was invited to come and live in Arden, but after the war, of course, when he escaped from Germany using the Catholic Church's rat lines, Mengele did not go to Arden even though he was invited. He ended up working in St. Louis, being supported by the CIA. And there's many, quite a few of his mind control victims that are actually have their stories out in the web. One woman who spoke in front of a conference in New Haven, Connecticut, gives quite a large description of Mengele's techniques to the psychiatrist. But there's 30 million dark occult Satanists in America today, and they've been obeying the oligarchs that have trillions and billions of dollars, you know, for a job, for security, for centuries. They are the henchmen of the elite. Unfortunately, the henchmen, the rank and file, are getting thrown under the bus along with the rest of humanity. The plan for Agenda 21 is to eliminate at least 80% of the human race. And with the soft kill methods of fluoride, cancer, and the polio vaccines, an increasing level of polluted and dead food, which is not giving you any nutrition. And then you go to the doctor and try to get help. And 750,000 people a year, according to Dr. Gary Knoll, die each year by going to the doctor for problem A and dying of problem B. That would mean if you go in the hospital and they give you the wrong drug and you expire, or you're basically you have a infection in the hospital and you die. The number of people that die from just contact with the medical establishment in America, and literally there's nothing to be said but to call it wrongful death, is 750,000 a year, according to Gary Knoll, which suits the Illuminati fine. The faster they can eliminate the human race, the better. This whole program of saving Gaia, you need to take a look at Alex Jones's movie Endgame and get an idea of exactly what's going on. It's not a system of saving the earth and restoring ecological goodness. Well, in a way it is. Of course, you and your family won't be here. Just the Rothschilds and the Queen. So, right. Too bad for you, Buppy.
Now, let me switch over to some of the interdimensional and the dark occultic forces. We started out going back to the 9600 BC cataclysm, and you mentioned that that's when the dark occultic forces. Could you name some of those dark occultic forces? What are we talking about here? Or just put, is it like a priest caste, or
yeah?
What is that? What it is?
Well, of course, this did start in its inception with what would be considered the Telestai and the Magi of the ancient classical world, selling out the human race to the highest bidder. And you find that religion and banking and royalty, they all work in concert together. And that's the way it is. But this is an interesting discussion on where are they and who are they? Well, as to who are they, they're everywhere. They're every one. Let's take the Mormon Church. There's countless stories of interdimensional reptilians. Okay, you're familiar with the Draco reptilians, I'm sure.
Yes.
Now, there's just many, many people that have witnessed them under the main altar area in the temple in Salt Lake City doing human sacrifices. This has been on the web for 20 years.
You mean that these are videos of interdimensional reptilians doing human sacrifices under the altar of the main temple of the Mormons in Salt Lake City? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if there's any videos, but there have been eyewitnesses that have posted accounts of this on the web. And when you look at where did Mormonism come from? Well, it came from Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. All the founders of Mormonism were Freemasons. So then you go back to the Merovingian bloodline, which is an Illuminati bloodline in Europe. And, all the founders of Mormonism, all Merovingian Illuminati bloodline, basically Freemasons.
Okay, so we're talking about the religions now.
Well, the vast majority of people in most religions are hardworking, decent, law-abiding citizens. But at the top of the religion, where their decisions affect hundreds of thousands or millions of people, you'll find collusion or actual dark Illuminati. Let's take the Quaker religion. William Penn was the son of a British admiral. William Penn and some of his close friends formed the Quaker religion in England. They were arrested. They were basically not following the rules of the religious tenets in England. They were dissidents. So this is what happened. The son of an admiral, which means in England at that time, around 1620, 1630, whatever it was, if you were an admiral in the Navy in England, you were at the round table with the movers and shakers. You were in with the in crowd. Now, it's interesting that William decides to rebel and become this peace-loving, God-fearing son of an admiral. Becomes a dissident, starts a dissident community, and out of nowhere, the Illuminati king of England, because Henry VIII, Henry Tudor, was the king that signed England over to the Illuminati agenda. After Henry VIII, all rulership in England, whether it's supposedly elected or royalty, is always in lockstep with the New World Order Illuminati plan. So out of nowhere, this Illuminati king gives young William Penn Pennsylvania for free. A landmass of virgin timber and mineral deposits bigger than England, Scotland, and Ireland combined, just out of the goodness of his heart. Well, that's what people are told. Let's take a look at the statue of Billy Penn on top of City Hall in Philadelphia, and let's have the analysis of my Amalekite mother tell us what's really going on here. William Penn has in his right hand a rolled up scroll by his side. That rolled up scroll, according to Freemasons, means that you're in possession of secret and occult knowledge. that you know the inside story. That's number one. Number two, William Penn.
Okay, you were saying number two, William Penn, after the scroll.
Mm-hmm. Well, the second thing is William Penn has in his left hand a bag. My Amalekite witch mother, Illuminati pedophile, mass murdering mother, told me when I was being trained in the true history of the world that that was a symbol for all the dark occultists to know that William Penn was a warlock. All warlocks have a bag. That's what she said to me.
Right. And in fact, we learned at the Free Your Mind conference that all of those buildings at the center of Philadelphia, including the Quaker Meeting House, were built on mounds, on sacred burial mounds going back 1,500 to 5,000 years of the Native Americans. So we learned that the buildings at the center of Philadelphia, the capital Pennsylvania and of the United States, were built on mounds, ancient Native American burial mounds going back 1,500 to 500 years, to 5,000 years, with intersecting ley lines. And that these founding fathers were mound gritters, were appropriating that sacred energy.
Absolutely. My mother told me that the dark occultists were working with the energy that was left to them by the Indians. That's why they use a lot of Indian names for a lot of the places that they found. They're absolutely 100% fully skilled in the use of ley lines and geomancy to poison the morphogenic field. And that's basically what keeps them in power, because this holographic creation that we're in, we are epigenetic beings. And if you can manipulate the base energy frequency, you can basically control the thing. And they totally know all about what the mound builders were doing, and they use that energy.
Now, let's look at some of the interdimensional, luciferic or satanic or extraterrestrial forces that the satanic Illuminati, use the energy of or communicate with. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, as I was giving let's say the standard Babylonian Anunnaki history, that the Draco reptilians attacked the Earth and basically took it over in 8 minutes, and that the rank and file Illuminati dark Satanists were doing what they did to appease these dark reptilian entities, and they served the dark side and feed the negative energy to these dark gods in order to keep humanity alive. Nothing could be further from the truth, but you need something to hang your hat on to justify being a pedophile.
Right. So have you witnessed ceremonies, or do you know about ceremonies in which actually dark interdimensional beings or extraterrestrials appear, like the Moloch that they burn in symbol at the Bohemian Grove, etc.?
Yes, the cult leader when I was growing up in Arden was a man named Buzz Ware. He had that art gallery, and the Church of Andres, the Marquis of Hell, was in the back of his art gallery. Buzz Ware supposedly was a reptilian shapeshifter, and he could go back and forth between human and reptilian. And I have memories of being in the presence as a child of what would be considered your classic brown, hooded and cloaked reptilian, wearing a brown hood and cloak and having the classic reptilian face. I have memories of that.
Right. Now, for example, in the annual Bohemian Grove ceremony, where they burn the figure of Moloch and they have a ritual, a symbolic ritual human sacrifice that's said to be symbolic. But as you pointed out, there are up to 800,000 children that disappear. And the power structure is there. So are you told that the power structure is satanic and Illuminati?
Oh, absolutely. One of the first things my father and mother got clear to me and my brothers when we were growing up was the Illuminati control the world and control the police. There's nowhere you can go for help. And there was a murder of a friend of mine who went septic. His name was Brandon Ploner. And in Arden, 10% of the town is non-cult. So I went to a Christian family down the street and told him that my friend had gone septic from being raped in a satanic ritual, and he was dead, and the police should arrest my father and the other people who were involved in this horrific murder. And he went to the police, and the police told him, oh, we know what's going on in Arden, Delaware, but we can't do anything about it. And that man moved out of the country with his family later. The police in the 1930s tried to shut down the cult in Arden, Delaware. 3 police were killed immediately, and then the cult said to the police, do you want some more? You have to understand that the oligarch families that have trillions and billions of dollars have assassins at their disposal, have all the media, can buy any number of people to say anything about you that they need to in order to frame you or destroy your life. There's really nothing the police can do. They have a gun to the back of their head. Only if a large amount of them stood up and said, we're not taking this anymore, would there actually be change. That's why the police and the military in America are called our dogs by the high-ranking Satanists. They consider the military and the police of this country to be dogs, to be used as animals.
Now, I just finished reading a book by Christopher Story called The New Underworld Order, in which he states that Luciferianism was the religion of the Founding Fathers, and that when the Great Seal of the first side of the Great Seal of the United States was put on the dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust," that the God referred to there is Lucifer. Is that correct?
I know that Franklin was, in most likelihood, a dark occultist, or at least an initiate, because my mother would, when my parents would hear a name of someone, either in history or a modern-day politician or entertainer, like Bob Hope or Senator Byrd from West Virginia, or, oh gosh, any number of people. If you were a cult and they were discussing you or heard your name mentioned on the TV or read an article about you, they kind of get a certain, hey, he's on our team, and a manifestation glow about them, an energy shift. And all I can say is that many of the people that you see on TV are dark occultists, and yet, I'm talking politicians here, but some of them actually are just also, what would you call it, compromised slaves. They're blackmailed today. But we were always told growing up that the gray, the Zeta Reticuli gray and the reptilians are actually from a different dimension than ours. I just want you to know that.
Right, and they work with the dark occultists and with the New World Order. Is that it?
Oh, absolutely. It's one big happy family. Yeah. What people don't understand, though, is the reptilians are as far as I'm concerned, are the archonic force in the goddess mythology. Okay. And the archons mean to eliminate humanity. So humanity either grows up and starts manifesting a different positive consciousness and throws off these corrupt people, or it's basically headed straight for a graveyard.
Now, I know that during the two Bush's White House, Bush Jr. and Bush Sr., there was tremendous stories of pedophilia going on, satanic pedophilia going on in the White House. Have you heard? Now, during the George Bush's administration, George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, we had a great deal about satanic pedophilia going on in the White House under both Bushes. Have you heard anything about satanic Illuminati influences in the Obama White House?
No, I generally stay away from, now that I'm deprogrammed, I don't run in the circles of the Illuminati that I used to. And I was programmed to be a slave because after I tried to get certain occultists arrested when I was 6 years old, they decided that my consciousness would never go to the dark side, and they electroshocked my brain to the point where I didn't know my name, and then put me through a crash monarch slave program. But when I worked in Philadelphia, I would say half the people I worked for were involved as far as being Illuminati. And those business people would use certain monarch hand signals to get me to work for them for peanuts. And all I can say is my mother always regretted living in Arden because there were just so many more occult people in Philadelphia. There's quite a few in Philadelphia.
Okay. Now, we're coming to the end of this segment, but what are some of the solutions for the planet, for those of us that are on this planet that are oriented toward the light and that really want to have a light-oriented planet? What are some of the solutions? How can we rid ourselves of this archonic infestation?
Well, the dark occult Satanists that practice mind control and pedophilia for the elite, the 30 million that do that in this country, were told for generations that they were going to get a big payoff when the New World Order came into fruition. But if you do any studying, you will know that the 30 million dark pedophile occult Satanists in this country are being thrown under the bus along with the rest of humanity. And the only the top of the elite will be allowed to live past the what I call the hammer dropping. As far as solutions, we are in an energetic matrix, and this matrix has a base energy which comes from what is known as the goddess Sophia or Sophia, and that base energy is a nurturing and loving energy. That is why the dark occultists have seized our education and religious faculties on this planet and changed nurturing of spirituality in the classical world to a father god that wants to throw you literally in a pit of fire forever. That's why John Lash's book, Not in His Image, is very important to read. How we get out of this is by changing our attitudes and energy. And it's going to take some people who are right-brain imbalanced and who are doormats standing up, and it's going to take some people who are dominators and left-brain imbalanced sitting down and chilling out. I recommend EFT to every person on the planet so that they can reprogram their subconscious.
Sorry, what is EFT?
EFT is emotional freedom technique. It's one of the acupressure, psychological healing modalities that's come around in the last 20 years. You can change aspects of your subconscious, which runs 95+% of your life, by using EFT. You can go online and look up EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. You can research Psy-K, which is another psychological subconscious reprogramming modality. This is the most important message we have to get to humanity, is that the subconscious runs 95% or more of your adult life, and you did not program that into yourself. No one in the first 6 years of their life differentiates anything while you're in a hypnagogic trance. So if you're raised a Catholic, you're going to be mind controlled to be a Catholic. If you're raised a Satanist, of course, with the torture and drugging and mind control, you'll be a Satanist. But you can take back your mind and your heart by using EFT, and I've used it to deconstruct the mind control programming that I was under. And as far as the Bohemian Grove goes, I'm absolutely sure that while they're mock human sacrificing, someone is getting killed at the exact same time. The bloodlust of the elite is just insatiable. Once you have $1 trillion, Alfred, there's really nothing more fun than to kill children. A billionaire in Australia who was part of the Freemasonic Illuminati there told a story on his deathbed about a circle of people that would gather around. This was a ritual that was done quite a bit. We'd gather around a woman who would give birth to a brand new baby. They would cut the umbilical cord, lay the baby on the floor, and the people in the circle would take turns kicking the baby to death. And that was, little fun. And those are the people who are ruling you. Those are the people you see on TV smiling at you. By using EFT, you can change your consciousness, whether you're cult or not cult. And you can raise your conscious vibration. Another thing we need to do is to use orgonite to fight off some of the cell tower EMF radiation. And orgonite helps the life force energy of orgone that Wilhelm Reich discovered. It brings it up and focuses it, and we need to spread a lot of orgonite around.
Now, if people want to follow your work or be in contact with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Well, I would say just go online and do a search. I have 2 presentations, maybe 3 presentations on the Free Your Mind conference. They'll be on the web. I'm going to do more interviews and talk more about basically what people need to do to heal. I mean, Bruce Lipton has got some really great material out there. Kevin Trudeau has some really spectacular information. I've spent 14 years since I became aware of my satanic ritual abuse, studying psychology, philosophy, history. So if you see my Free Your Mind conference video from 2011, and you can find that at freeyourmindconference.com, and just click on the 2011 conference. You can see my hour-long presentation, and that will give you a lot of books to read and videos to see, and you can start becoming an aware human being.
Well, Jay, we want to thank you for taking this time with us today. I know that we've touched on many different topics of importance, and we look forward to seeing more and more of your work emerge.
Well, thank you, Alfred, and all I have to say is the world has many high concentration pockets of dark occultists. They like to live around each other near the ley lines so that when they do their rituals, they can pour that energy into the Earth's geomantic grid. And that's why we need to hit the grid with orgonite.
Very good. Could you, I know we keep on opening up issues, but this is so new. Could you identify some of the main locations of ley lines and Illuminati Satanists in the U.S., for example?
Well, I know the Philadelphia region and where my family went when I was a kid. And of course, Arden is one place. Riverton, New Jersey is another high concentration locale. As far as I know, Medford Lakes, New Jersey is a high concentration. Of course, Rose Valley, another Marquis of Hell enclave. The Art Museum in Philadelphia is along what's known as the Arcadian ley line. The Arcadian ley line goes from Europe all the way through the heart of Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. You can look up the Arcadian ley line on the web. There are many good books about the ley lines. My mother told me, as far as Illuminati concentration, that they like, when they found a community, they like to end the name of the community in T-O-N. Not town, but ton.
Like
and,
Washington.
Washington.
Boston.
Boston. Yes, amazing. but Trenton.
Trenton, sure.
Now, I'm just saying that doesn't mean it's just like most religions and most charitable organizations. It doesn't mean everyone there is going to be dark occult. It's just a little high there so that if you're, you know, in the 10% that's dark occultist, you would know that there would be bloodline families there if you were to move there.
Right, right.
I just want to say that studying the ley lines and using organite is something you could really do to help free humanity. There is a website called ethericwarriors.com, and you can learn how to do several organite devices that can be used to help free humanity from this energetic prison that we're in.
Very good. Very good. Finally, could I ask you to turn on your camera just to see if we can do that without the interference that we've been experiencing?
All right, I'll try one more time.
Good.
Oh, there we go.
So this way, you can say a greeting to our audience. We want to apologize to our audience. We weren't able to have Jay Parker on full time because every time that we would get started on a topic, we would be cut off, and so it seems that we're touching on subjects. So, do you think that this planet will ever be flipped out of the satanic column into the column of light?
Absolutely. 20 years ago, the sun was an orange-yellow sun. Now it's a white sun that literally fills the sky. If the frequency of the sun changes, and it has changed because it's gone from yellow to white, the sun represents 99% of the mass of our holographic solar system. That energy mass has changed frequency. They may spray chemtrails out the wazoo. They're not going to be able to stop that new frequency from having effect on the planet Earth. And it's only a matter of time before the victims of the Illuminati start talking amongst each other and rise up to heal this planet.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you again and for coming on and for enlightening us all in this area that's not very well known. We've been with Jay Parker, who was born into a multi-generational satanic Illuminati family and who is now revealing a specialized holistic approach for satanic ritual abuse healing. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Alfred.